The highlights of this one.
It was quick and painless.
And you said, Charles, beforehand, you had a feeling that it would go down like this.
It would go a beat down like this, Ernie, because they came out sluggish in game one. They were not going to come out sluggish in game two. They were going to put their foot on their neck. It was quick and painless tonight.
Go up some more or fall farther behind.
There it is.
And they fell farther behind. 125 to 103.
Hey,
the
Ernie,
final, yes.
I don't know a lot about basketball. That's not a good coaching strategy. Hey, we're only down 13.
If you were down 28,
right.
doesn't sound as bad.
Yeah, it does not sound as bad, but it don't sound good either.
So the Bucks lead it 2-0.
And look, they were rusty from game one. Giannis didn't play well in game one. I said earlier, you have to put him in that category of a superstar. I don't know who's in his ear. I don't know who's talking to him, but, he definitely knows what it takes. And a guy like that, you're not going to, he's not going to let himself score 17 points 2 games in a row. He wants it. Chrissy just asked about the MVP. He's like, I don't care about that. I just want to go to Toronto and get a win.
Yeah, but
I like the way everybody's playing.
I want to give a shout out to that general manager. The pieces he's added to this team, that's been the difference between Milwaukee this year and last year. He's added some nice pieces.
John Horst, you're talking about.
Yes, you got to give him a lot of credit. I mean, obviously, Giannis and Middleton, they're both all-stars. But the other pieces fit very nicely.
Let's go to the other side of this. Okay, so Kawhi goes for 31. He's had 9 games of at least 30 in these playoffs. You lose by 22. Tell me what the positive is that you take back to Toronto out of these 2 games.
Well, no one has really come to the party on a consistent basis in this series other than Kawhi. And it has to be a concerted effort to someone and say, well, I'm not going to play this poorly multiple times. And I'm talking about Lowry, I'm talking about Gasol, I'm talking about
Gasol,
Ibaka.
3 for 20 in the series.
Because there were controllable errors that most of those guys had. And to me, that was the difference. Mental preparation in this environment makes you a champion or makes you go home. And you cannot have mental errors the way Toronto had. You can lose big, but you can't lose big the way they lost today.
And Siakam has to understand. We kind of gave up on Lowry being the number 2. We said, Siakam, the way you played in the last 2 series, you're the number 2. But ever since game 4, 5, and 6 in Philly, he really hasn't been the Siakam that gives you high 20 points.
One of my favorite coaches was Paul Silas. I asked him one year when I was in Phoenix, I said, what kind of team we got? He says, oh, we're going to suck. I said, Coach, I think we got a good team. He said, no, we don't. He says, when I don't know what I'm going to get every night, that makes it very difficult for us to coach.
Yeah.
He says, if a guy get me 30 one night and 10 the next night, people are going to say, he averaging 20. That's what's happening with the Toronto Raptors right now. Guys might get me 20 or they might get me 6. That's not going to beat this Bucks team, because the one thing about Milwaukee, they got guys who can score. Like, we know that Kawhi Leonard can score. We're not getting nothing out of Ibaka, Gasol, Siakam, or Kyle Lowry. We got guys coming in on the Milwaukee bench who are getting double digits. That's going to be very difficult for them. So the positive is we're going back to Toronto. That's the only positive thing.
Brogdon 14, Ilyasova 17 off of that Milwaukee bench.